So, what separates Georgia and Kirby Smart from the rest of college football? According to Kirby, it's very simple. He says, what's going to make you separate on the field is the players you put out there. And obviously, Kirby Smart, a big believer in recruiting mattering a lot. And we're going to talk about this for a little bit because Georgia right now, when I'm recording this, got 13 kids committed in the 23 class. Most recent class, um, they signed 30 guys this past cycle. Um, I don't know who the headliner is. Williams is certainly going to be one that people will talk about. Everett could be one that people talk about for sure. You got Thorson as the punter. Um, Oscar Delp could be a very good running back, tight end for them at running back. You've got a couple of guys. We're just going to see what happens with this class. But this is a consistent thing for Georgia in signing really high level guys. When you take a look at everybody on the field, Kirby's point is that's what separates coaching. Because for a long time, I feel, and I think people who didn't play really feel like coaching matters a lot. But anyone you talk to in collegiate athletics, it is totally about recruiting. That's the number one thing. You've got to be able to recruit because if you don't, you can't develop someone who's not there. That's all there is to it. Georgia is fortunate that it has over the years become a blue blood, a traditional power in the world of college football. I could not probably do this for a living if I covered Missouri. Um, Maybe I doubt it. So there's only a few places you can do that with, and the reason why is because of the players that have been on the field for decades. Whether you can start back in the 40s if you want to. Everyone starts with Herschel, which I think is a very good beginning. Buck Belue was an unbelievable athlete. These were guys that were exceptional players. They wanted to play at Georgia. It was their home, whether they were from Riceville or from Valdosta. Thomas Brown from Tucker, a random one there for you, Asher Allen as well. They're just through the years, Georgia's had exceptional players. More and more now, we're seeing a national recruiting uh, strategy from Kirby, which I think is probably the smarter play. When you talk about guys like, just looking on the cover of DAWGSTRUCTION, the lead guy obviously is from Arizona and Keely Ringo. But when you just flip through the book, I'm just going to randomly flip through the book, and the page I stop on may or may not be okay. So, well, that's a walk-on, so this might not be the greatest spot to pick from. All right, James Cook, Miami. I went down to visit James in 17. Yes, I think in 2017, and in Miami downtown, and you know James Cook. There's not a lot of guys like him in college football. That's the reason why on that night against Tennessee and against Alabama, we do not have the explosive run from James in here in that particular game. There is an explosive run right there from James. That is in the Capital One Orange Bowl. And just like if you look at the guys here, Burton, not from Georgia. Washington, not from Georgia. Cook, not from Georgia. Schaefer, yes, from Georgia. I can't tell who that is up there, so I'm not going to say. But um, what Georgia's been doing is they've been attacking the recruiting ball game, and they have made that work for them. That is what separates Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State from everybody else. Pick up DAWGSTRUCTION today. You get this today. It is a commemorative edition, national championship celebration. Forward from Jeff Foxworthy. I've not heard from Jeff in a little bit of time. He's probably very busy. I know he's touring. There's a funny story about how we got hooked up together. We'll talk about that one of these days. Some really cool, interesting shots that you will not see anywhere else. If you get DAWGSTRUCTION today, you also get the magazine. Jeff, I'm going to send you some magazines, so stand by, okay? If you want to text me or email me and remind me, because I'm busy like you are. You buy DAWGSTRUCTION today, you get the season preview for free. It will be in the packaging with it. If you are waiting if you are so desperate for it, you want to drive over from Atlanta, or if you're in Athens, You can pick it up at UGA at Red Zone on Clayton. This is the only place besides my residence that the magazine is at. If you just want the magazine, you want me to mail it to you, that link is down below. I would get DAWGSTRUCTION, uh, even if you already got a copy, because you can give it as a gift. A lot of people have been doing that. By the way, if you're getting it as a gift, you need to let me know if you want me to sign it. You need to let me know the day that you buy it, not a couple of days later, because I send them out pretty quick. Anyway, the players that Georgia has put on the field for decades is what separates them, and that has gotten even higher now with Kirby. And we've seen the escalation. I mean, this guy right here is not from Atlanta, all right? He's from Napa. Georgia is a national brand. It is a global brand in some ways, but it is a national brand in college football. There's only a few national brands. Georgia's one of them. And winning a national championship does not necessarily make you a national brand. Now, this is a if you have friends from other schools, maybe they don't want to listen right now because I'm going to bring the truth. Just because you're good at football doesn't necessarily mean you're a national brand. I think Clemson, Auburn, um, I would almost say Texas A&M, but I think they're probably pretty close to a national brand at this stage. Those are more regional powers. Auburn is elevated not necessarily but because of Auburn, but because of their relationship in that game with Alabama. If Clemson had not had the two national championships lately, nobody would think about them. No, no, no hating, just the truth. I think Florida State has regressed from a national brand to more of a regional brand lately. I think if Miami ever got their act together, they would be a national brand. But Georgia is a national brand. Now, why do I say that? Why do I bring that up? It's not to put other places down. The Gators, they're a national brand, period. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. These are national brands. Michigan State, you know what? Probably not. Oregon, yes. UCLA, no. USC, yes. Utah, no. Texas, no question. Oklahoma, yes. Oklahoma State, no. Baylor, no. So Georgia is a national brand. They can sell anywhere. By the way, that you're not in my national brand doesn't mean you can't go rip off national championships. LSU, no question. Arkansas, no, they're not a national brand. No, they're not. They're a bigger deal than a lot of other places. They're just not a national brand. Tennessee, no. They were, but in the last 40 years of football, and this is what separates Georgia too. There is longevity that we've seen at Georgia of consistent winning. This is why Michigan is considered a national brand, and they are. Because although they have half of a national championship in the last 40 years, they have consistently been good. They've consistently been in the imagination of the American football of the American sporting public. And why? Because they have Ohio State. Why is Georgia a big deal? Because they have Florida and they have Auburn. Not because of Georgia Tech. No, that's just their sort of thing. So um, things come and go. But when Kirby talks about what separates them are the players on the field, the reason the players are on the field, James Cook, Brock Bowers, right this second acutely, that's because of Kirby and his staff. On a 40,000 foot scale, it's because Georgia has a major brand name. It is about as big a place as you can go to. Is Ohio State has the most fans, the most viewership. Well, they might not have more in Alabama in terms of viewership. They definitely have more fans in Alabama, but it's because they're a larger state, much larger state. So um, Georgia is right there with those two. Texas certainly would be as well. And I'm sure I'm leaving some people out that I don't mean to. You're not going to get that from Florida State, you know? At this point, the question is, was Florida State about Bobby Bowden? And really that's what they were about? Or are they more powerful than that? This second, it looks like it was Bobby Bowden. Yeah, I remember Jimbo winning a national championship there. Gene Chizik won a national championship at Auburn. So it happens. What separates Georgia right now is Kirby Smart right now, but George Kirby's not going to be the only guy that wins the national championship at Georgia.